there, I'm Heather Sampson with Beach Beads and Glass Studio and Illuminations in Surfside Beach, South Carolina, right near Myrtle Beach. Today I'm going to be doing a tutorial on the aluminum Go With The Flow pendant and my favorite double swirl earrings that are also made out of aluminum. I have the aluminum for sale on my website right here, and I also have the kits for the necklace. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the tools that we're going to need for the Go With The Flow necklace and the earrings are going to be your round nose pliers, your nippers, your nylon coated pliers, and an option is to use a dowel if you need the loop that it hangs from to actually go over something larger. A dowel is a great way to get a larger hole, uniform hole. Then you're going to need 3mm rat tail for the necklace, and for the earrings we are going to need the chasing hammer and the bench block. So let's go ahead and get started making our projects. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to cut 3 pieces of the 12 gauge wire at 16 inches. Now once you measure the first one, you can just use that wire to measure the rest. And I'm using 3 different textures of the 12 gauge just because I'm using all silver. You do not have to use different textures to get this look. You can use 3 different colors. I'm just using the texture because I'm doing the one that's in all silver. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is just make sure all your ends have a nice flush cut. You're going to do that by backing the butt of the tool up and nipping the ends. And just check both sides. And those are all good. So then what you're going to do is you're going to get all 3 wires even. It doesn't matter what their order is. You're just going to get them even, just like that. And please excuse my hands. I'm getting ready for a show and my hands look awful. They are wearing all the hard work on them. So you're going to go ahead and get right there in your tool, and you're going to make a loop. You want a substantial size loop like that. Don't worry about if it's closed or not. You're going to hold right underneath those loops with your left hand, and you're going to come down and make a 90-degree angle, just like that. Now these wires do not want to stay in place, so you're going to have to really stand on them. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the wire across the front. Meanwhile, I'm holding them all flat. And I'm going to tighten that loop up by pulling on both sides. Now you can see that my wire is wanting to come up over. This is when you use your nylon coated pliers and flatten it back out. And you keep pulling on both sides, trying to keep them flat, which they don't like to do. This is the hardest part, by the way. And you want to get that nice tight loop just about there. And then you are going to, again, press everything flat. Get everything nice and flat. Don't worry about your bail. We are just going to concentrate on this part. You're going to hold that flat and pull on the wire. Just winding it up, following that original loop that we made. Holding everything flat with your hands. And you're just going to continue rolling. Don't pull too hard because then the wire will overlap. We're just going to continue rolling till we get the size that we want, which I believe is right about there. Now you'll see that my bails have all gone crazy. Just stand them straight back up. So there we are. And don't worry if they're centered because we can recenter them too. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 1 wire at a time. Now this can still come apart. This is not one piece yet. It can still come apart. So if you see that happen, don't worry. You can just piece it back together. So I'm going to grab the smallest tail. I'm going to come right in the tip and make a loop. Just like that. And then I'm going to curl that up just a little bit, just so I can get it with my hands and curl it up. You can also, if your wire overlaps, just stand on it. You can also use your nylon coated pliers if that's easier for you. I personally like my hand. And I'm just gonna curl it up. Don't really worry about where it sits right now. We just wanna get it curled up first. And you're gonna do that with each one. You're gonna grab in the tip, make a loop, go back in the loop snug and roll it up. Don't grab too hard with the tool. We're just trying to get it rolled up enough to where we can grab it with our hands and roll it up. Just like that. And like I said, don't worry about what it looks like now. We're gonna figure out where the loops are gonna go. Now this one, you can decide whether you want to roll it the opposite way. I think I'm going to. I'm gonna roll it. Make your loop, go in snug. And then roll it up with your hand. Just like that, and then we're gonna decide where we want everything to go. Okay, I think I'm gonna take this one back over here. Each one's gonna be different. I'm gonna come across the front actually and do this one. If it comes out of whack a little bit, don't worry about it. So this is what's gonna make it all one, is when I bring that up and set it down, and then I'm gonna bring the other one underneath of it. Sometimes you'll notice that, you know, they have different placements, and if you don't like the placement that you have, you can rework it. But basically it's 3 swirls underneath, and then what we're gonna do is we are gonna then fix our bail. We're gonna get our bail nice and centered, get everything flat, make sure it's the way we want it, just like that. Now what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to trim our bail. So we're gonna take it across. We're gonna trim this one a little bit more. Again, I'm using the butt of the tool to give it a trim. I'm just trimming a little bit off because we're gonna make the loop smaller. And what I do is just kind of work it down, get in there, and then pull it shut. Line it up. If it's still not where you want it and you want it down lower, you just keep trimming and turning back. If you need a large, that one is not closed. If you need a large hole, like if you want to put it on something, you can use the dowel and work the wire over the dowel and it'll give it a larger hole. But that is that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cut 36 inches of the rat tail. And this is when you lock the pendant in. You are just going to run it through the loops. Just like that. Get 2 even parts on the other side. You're just going to hold your finger and make a knot and then cinch it down. Just like that, and then it's all joined forever. And then you can decide how you want to end your silk. I like to either tie a bead on the end or just leave it knotted so I can wear it at different lengths. So that is the Go With The Flow aluminum pendant. Okay, next we're going to make my favorite earrings, the little double swirl. The first thing I'm going to do is cut 2 pieces of aluminum wire at 6 inches. If you have little kinks in it, you just kind of, it's like Play-Doh, you just kind of work out the kinks. They don't have to be perfectly straight, but just not too bent. You're going to take your nippers with the back of the tool, you're going to back that up and flush cut the ends. Check all ends. Okay, so now what we're going to do is take our round nose tool. We're going to go all the way to the back of the tool, not all the way where the joint is, but almost. You're going to hold close, target your area, and you're going to make a J. Then you're going to flip your wrist, hold close, and continue turning. By holding close, you're targeting that little area right there. So this is the only area that's moving because you're holding close. If I held back here, the whole earring would move. So I'm just wanting to target that first swirl, so I'm holding close, and I'm just going to swirl it up. Now, the most asked question I probably get is, how do you get your earrings to look just the same? Now, I have a little bit in my wall right there, so I'm going to just kind of press it there. The way you get your earrings just the same is you build them a step at a time. So now I'm going to take the other earring and I'm going to do the same exact thing. I'm going to be flush near the back of the tool. I'm going to hold close. I'm going to make my J. I'm going to flip my wrist, hold close, continue turning until they match. Just like that. And then I am going to lay them on top of each other and make sure they match. So right now they both match. So I'm going to come up about a ½ inch, and I'm going to grab them both here, and I'm going to make a slight bend. Not a big bend, just slight. And then I'm going to face them as if my head were in the middle. This is an important part. The reason we do that is so that we turn the same way. So now that I have that slight bend, I am going to pull on the back of the wire here with these hands, and I'm going to press here. Pressing is keeping the loop flat, and I'm going to come all the way around until I am back centered. Now, once you get the loop you like, what you do is you stand on it and then bring your wire across. So I have that loop there. So what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to put pressure, pull with the back, make a loop. I'm going to try to get it about the same size. Which that, if you got too aggressive and you need to make your loop bigger, you just push back. And then you match them. So once you get it the way you want it, you stand on that and pull your wire back, just like that. And see, this one needs to just be rolled up a little bit more. Just roll up your swirl so it sits right over it. So now I have two matching. This one looks like it needs to be swirled just a hair more. So I'm going to go back in and swirl it. There's lots of little tweaks. Okay, and then sit them on top so that they match. And sometimes it takes some tweaking to get them to look exactly right. And you just kind of push and pull on it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay them close. You may need to trim these, so I'm going to take from the top of the swirl about 1 inch, and I'm going to cut those off. Just like that at the same time. Okay. Now what you're going to do is, again, you're going to face them like as if you were wearing them. You're going to target your area. You're going to come in the back of the tool, and you're going to turn back towards the earring. Same thing here. You're going to target your area, same place in the tool, and come back in position. So then you have your two matching earrings. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use the bench block and the hammer. Okay, so the way you want to position your tool is you want to just slightly hammer. Now I'm not going to hammer the part that crosses. And then you just attach them to your earrings and you are set. Okay, so depending on which way your earring loop is facing is going to determine whether you need a loop or not, or a ring, excuse me. So what I'm going to do is, because the way mine face, I'm going to need a ring to connect it. So I'm just using a little 6mm twisted jump ring, and I'm going to sit a bent nose on each side. Please excuse my hands again. I'm getting ready for a show and I've been on the torch all week. So you're going to open from front to back, just like that. You're going to go ahead and loop your earring on. I may need to open that. There we go. Always just put your earring with the pointy facing away from the front. I know that sounds silly, but how many times have we put on an earring backwards? So now what you're going to do is you're going to go back, and when you come back to close that ring, kind of press tension towards the center so you can feel it rub. We don't want any air in there for that earring to come off. And there. Now my loop is a little open, so I'm going to go back and snug and make sure that's nice and closed. Sometimes when we hammer, it just strengthens a little bit and opens, so you always need to double check your loops and make sure they're all the way closed. So again, you're going to find where it opens. You're going to put a bent nose. This just gives you more control when you use the bent nose like this of the ring. And you're just going to add that loop on there, that ring, excuse me. You're going to put your earring so the back faces away from the front. You're going to turn your tool around, and when we close, we're going to push towards the center till you feel that rub. And there you go. Now sometimes you won't need that ring. Sometimes you can just put it right on the earring. Sometimes it needs that extra little dangle for a movement. Just depends on what earring findings you're using. But those are my favorite aluminum earrings. I wear them almost every day. And there you go. Thanks for watching my video today. Definitely check out my website right here for all my fun kits and beading supplies and all my handmade glass beads. I hope to see you soon. Bye.